Hey guys, welcome to Friday edition of Teaching in the Kitchen. Today we have a couple really fun, really easy things to make. The last couple things we've done, pizza and cinnamon rolls, have been time consuming, messy. So today we're actually going to do something really fun and it's a lot easier to cook. Today we're going to do guacamole and quesadillas. If you don't like those two things, you need to try them because they're one of my favorite things in the world to make. And they're very easy to make, okay? The first thing I want to show you is the guacamole, okay? Because we're gonna do that and put it on there at the end, but it's easier to make this first. That way it's ready to go when your quesadillas are done, okay? So these are the ingredients you need in your guacamole. Okay, you need avocados, lime, cilantro, and onions, okay? You can also add salt and pepper. You can also add tomatoes if you want. When you're using avocados, you want to make sure they're the correct amount of ripeness, okay? This one here is completely green, okay? That's not ready to eat. You can't really use that in anything. If you were to open it up, you really couldn't even get the avocado out of the skin, okay? This one here is getting pretty close. This is the kind of avocado you would probably use for like a salad or something to where you could have sliced avocados because it's going to hold up a little bit better. But you want your avocados to look like this, okay? That they're almost all the way brown, and that's going to allow you to open them up and take the seed out, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, and we'll be able to use that a lot easier. Let me grab a fork so we can mash this up. Okay, to open up an avocado, you're just going to put your knife right at the top, okay, and then you're just going to turn the avocado all the way around, and it comes right out. Okay, if it's real ripe, the seed will kind of move when you squeeze it. Okay, if the seed doesn't move, just kick your knife down in there and pull it out. Okay. I'm just going to use 2 avocados today for this guacamole, just for the sake of being quick. Okay. So let me get the nut out of this one. Okay, and then you can use a spoon to go in and get it out, okay? Just scoop it out like that. When they're nice and ripe, it comes right out of there. That's why you want them to be almost brown. Now, if you let them go too long, the avocado is going to turn brown inside before you even use it. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a second anyway, okay? So, that's the base to our guacamole. You're just going to mash it up. Okay, it should mash up really easy because you've let your avocados ripen. If you had one of those greener ones, you wouldn't be able to do this. You'd be pressing down, and it'd be more like an apple or that kind of texture where you couldn't actually mash it up. Okay, you can mash it up as much as you want. If you want a little bit chunky, that's fine too. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of salt. Okay, we don't need a ton of salt. Okay, but it just gives us a little bit of flavor. Okay, then we're going to put in red onion. I've cut up about 1/3 of a red onion here. I kind of eyeball what's needed in there. I probably have too much onion there for only 2 avocados. So we'll just add that in. Okay, you don't have to use as much onion if you don't want to. You can add more avocados if you have them. Okay, the next thing is cilantro. Okay, cilantro is an herb, just like we've been using, like rosemary or basil. You find it in your grocery section in the produce. Okay, sometimes you can find a big bunch of it. Okay, just chop up some cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, that's fine. Some people don't, but a lot of the flavor that comes from guacamole is in cilantro. Okay, give that a nice chop. You don't want big chunks of it in there, so I'm trying to get it chopped up quickly. Okay, we'll put that down in there. Okay, and the last thing I want to put in here is lime. Okay, and I'm going to do lime for a couple reasons. Number one, the flavor of lime is awesome. Okay, lime in guacamole tastes really, really good. The other reason you use lime is because guacamole is going to turn brown very quickly. Okay, there's an enzyme inside of avocados, and when it touches oxygen, when you open up the avocado, it starts to turn brown when it hits the oxygen. It's called oxidizing. That's your science lesson for the day. So we're using a lime, which has a lot of acid in it, okay? This would be a great science project for you next year if you want to try that. but the acid in the lime is going to stop the oxidation process from happening. Okay, it won't completely stop it, but it'll slow it down. So we're going to put the lime in there so that it tastes good and to make it keep from turning brown. Okay, just going to mix that up. And your guacamole is ready to go. Of course, you can make a lot more than that, but that's guacamole. Very easy. The next thing I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this at home, is to make homemade tortilla chips, homemade chips, okay? I use yellow corn tortillas. These are really good for like street tacos. If you've ever had street tacos, you just see those little mini tacos. You can use them for that. You can also use white corn tortillas. I like the yellow for chips. I like white for the quesadillas. So I'm actually going to cut these up. I've heated up some oil right here in this big red pan, and I'm going to put these chips in, and you can watch them fry up. They don't take very long at all. I'm going to grab a spider, which is this little gadget. If you don't have one, that's okay. Just use something that can dump them down in and then scoop them out that doesn't bring the oil with it. All right, come up here and look at this. As soon as you put those down in there, they're going to start frying up. Okay, you want your oil pretty hot because what you want them to do is cook quickly. Okay, you don't want them to burn and you don't want them to be soggy. So you're just going to watch these cook for a second, and they won't take very long at all. In fact, as soon as they start to float, they'll be ready. Okay, you can see them already almost about done. They're going to be the color of the chips you eat at like a Mexican restaurant. Those are already pretty close to being done. Literally about 20 or 30 seconds. Okay? Scoop those out. You want to get some kind of pan where they'll drain. Okay, you don't want to set them on the counter or set them in a bowl or something where the oil is just going to sit there on them. Those chips are ready to go. As soon as they come out, you want to throw a little bit of salt on them. If you like salt on them. Most people do. But if you do the salt later, you're not going to be able to have it stick to the chips. The oil is what helps them stick to the chips. So now I have chips and guacamole on the side. Just like that, we're ready to go with those. All right, the other thing we're going to do is make quesadillas. Quesadillas are super simple. Okay, you want a pan like this, big pan, and you want to turn it to about medium heat. And when we turn the heat up, we want the other burn on. You can turn the heat up when you have started the quesadillas, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, when we turn that one off, turn that one on. All right, so to make quesadillas, you want to get large tortillas. Okay, these are too big. These are burrito-sized quesadillas. You can get them even bigger than this. And you're going to use a little bit of butter on them. I'm going to use about half a teaspoon of butter. Here's your math lesson today. This is a half a cup of butter, and it's 8 tablespoons. Can you see along in there where it says how many tablespoons? That cuts up into 8 tablespoons, which is the same as half a cup. I'm going to use half a tablespoon for each one of these. So in your head, what fraction am I going to use for each tortilla? Okay, if I'm using half a tablespoon, what's the fraction of a cup? You don't need a lot. You just want to cover it up, because what that's going to do is it makes it brown and crispy. And I'll show you what happens at the end. Throw it down in the pan. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to butter the other one the same way. Okay, now we can start building our quesadillas. The first thing you always need in quesadillas is cheese, always. This is Monterey Jack cheese, okay? We cannot find shredded Monterey Jack cheese on its own. So what we do is buy the block of it and shred it up. Now you can use Colby and Monterey Jack or any kind of shredded cheese you want that you find at the grocery store. It's fine. Put some of your cheese on there. It's going to melt really easy. Monterey Jack, the reason we use it is because it melts easily. I'm going to make one of these with vegetables. Okay, Mrs. McLean likes her quesadillas with just vegetables. We have some leftover spinach. We had mushrooms last night for dinner, and we've got some Fresno chili peppers. I'm going to throw all that on her quesadilla. That's what she likes on hers. And then I'm going to fold the top half of the quesadilla up. And you can see it's already starting to get brown. And I'm going to show you what happens at the end when you let it cook a little bit. On mine, I've got a little bit of leftover steak, some bell peppers, and some red Fresno chilies. I'm also going to chop up a little bit of banana pepper. I like a little heat on my quesadillas. And throw those on there. And I'm also going to chop up a little bit of jalapeno, and I'll tell you what the difference is in these here in a minute. Okay, we'll fold those up, let them cook for a second. All right, I'll tell you the difference in these peppers. This is a bell pepper. Peppers are based on Scoville units, okay? A Scoville unit tells you how hot a pepper is. So a bell pepper is going to be 0, okay? It's sweet, there's no heat in it, so it's going to be 0 on the scale. This is a red chili, or Fresno chili, Fresno pepper. It has a little bit of heat, okay? Not a lot. It's kind of going to be in the same range as the bell pepper. It's a little bit sweeter. This is a banana pepper. Banana peppers have about 4,000 Scoville units. So it's starting to get hot. If you were to touch this with your hands and then touch it on your tongue, you could definitely taste some heat. The seeds in a pepper is what makes it really hot. This is a jalapeno. I'm sure you've heard of that before. Jalapenos are about 9,000 Scoville units. Okay. All right. I'm going to flip this over. It's almost ready to go. Okay. You can see it's starting to brown. We're going to let it get a little browner on the other side. Turn the heat up just a little bit. Help it get a little browner. Let me get my finishing touches ready to go. At the end, I'm going to put on sour cream and pico de gallo. Okay, you can make this yourself at home if you want. Pico is just tomatoes, red onion, and a little bit of cilantro. Sometimes garlic, sometimes jalapeno, depending on if you like it spicy. I'm going to finish the quesadillas off at the end with those. Flip this one over. If a little bit falls out, that's all right. Just push them back in. Turn the heat up a little bit. All right, I'm going to start dressing my plate. Put some guac on this. Some homemade chips. Man, those look good. Okay, and here at the end, I'm just going to throw the quesadillas on with it, and I'll show you how to cut up the quesadilla as soon as it's ready. Oh yeah, this is looking perfect. You can see the butter, the browning of the quesadilla is because of the butter. Okay, that gives it flavor, but it also cooks it correctly. You can use cooking oil if you want to be a little bit healthier, but the butter gives it a lot of flavor and it makes the tortilla nice and crispy so that you can cut it up properly at the end. All right, let me get my pizza cutter. Should have had that one again. Don't know where it is. We'll just use a knife. I can't find my pizza cutter, but you can use a pizza cutter to cut up the quesadilla. Works out really well. All right, this one looks like it's ready to go. When it comes out, it's going to be piping hot because the cheese is melting. Okay? Yummy, ooey gooey cheese. All right. All you need now, a little bit of pico. A little bit of sour cream. And you're ready to go. That's quesadillas, homemade chips, and guacamole. I hope you try this because it's about the best thing on earth to eat. Super simple, super quick. We ran through that in about 10 minutes. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. See ya.